This is no time for an apology war. There are lives at stake. There is peace at stake. And the future of I think it is not exaggeration to say the future of Europe, the future of the free world is before us. To let Vladimir Putin march through Ukraine, to go at these negotiations with surrender instead of strength is a big mistake. And if you ever question the outcome of what happened at the White House, the former Russian president said this. He said that Zelensky was an insolent pig who finally got his slap down. Okay, that is not the result that we should want in America. And one of the most troubling things to me was when Vice President Vance, as I noted today, as he accused President Zelensky of never thanking America. And as you just recently showed on your show, repeatedly, I have heard President Zelensky thank Republicans, thank Democrats in private meetings, in public events, over and over. I once heard the story from embassy personnel in our American embassy in Ukraine, that Ukrainians in delis would write on their food, "Thank you, America." Ukrainians and President Zelensky are grateful. And I really resented that Vice President Vance said that. And I listened to the entire long interview you had with the Secretary of State. And I will say he still, of course, left open a reset. He did not close off these negotiations. My interest right now, in addition to, of course, being appalled by what happened, is to get this back on track. And I have talked to Republican senators tonight who are interested in giving this. They want to get this back on track. I'm not going to go into who they are. I'm not going to talk about what they felt about it. But I think I ask your viewers to watch that tape, and you see the body language of JD Vance being very aggressive. And even when President Zelensky responds to him on the diplomacy point, he says, could I? And he makes his point that I've heard tons of Republicans make, and that is that Vladimir Putin, and the Secretary of State has not kept his word. He is someone that in the past has violated the Minsk agreements, violated these agreements, and we can't have this happen again. And that's why President Macron of France, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, have made the points this week in Washington that we need to have a tight security plan with any agreement that's made. And that means troops from both Great Britain and France have offered up troops once there's an agreement to work with the Ukrainians to enforce it. So all President Zelensky was saying is that we need to make sure that the agreement is firm, or Vladimir Putin, as he has in the past, will violate it.
Yeah, and that was the question that I had for President Trump before this imploded today, which was about those security guarantees. That's been the key question these leaders have had. But the question is, how do they get back to those talks? I mean, for Trump, diplomacy is personal. He takes these things incredibly personal. Not that any president really doesn't. But, I mean, do you see this getting back to a path where Ukraine still has real leverage at the negotiating table?
For the sake of United States leadership, we must. And so I would start with a mineral agreement that benefits both our countries. That is a longer-term agreement, but it's very important. And I know from our meeting with President Zelensky, he was looking forward to going to the White House to get that done. And I know President Trump wants to get it done. Secondly, you got to look at who are your friends here, man. Do you want to side with, as Marco Rubio pointed out, North Korea and, Iran designed drones that the Ukrainians have just shot down? Is that who you want to be with? Or do you want to be with the other countries of the free world, our allies, our trading partners? They're going to matter in all this. The Italian prime minister, who's a conservative, a friend of President Trump, just called for a summit, and she actually has stood with Ukraine. So that's the second thing I think that will matter with our European allies. And then the third thing to get it back on track is just to remember what is at stake here for American leadership across the world, and everything is on the table. So no, I don't think we should be in an apology war. I think we should be in in America moving forward with our allies And I would hope that tomorrow that we can start resetting this again instead of dividing everyone. And I am very appalled by what happened.
We shall see.
But my view is we need to go forward.